Okay, so today we're gonna present our final project. It is regarding Villa Felice, that is a restaurant in Chácara Santo Antônio, and we're gonna explain how we did our research and try to understand better their operations as a whole. So just talking generally about the restaurant, they're trying to offer the customer a gourmet experience during lunch. So they do a careful choice of their ingredients, suppliers, workers. They're all trying to always praise for food quality. So they're always trying to test it and see if it's up to their standards. And they also do service to ensure customer satisfaction. Here you have all their logos since their creation in 1994. Okay, so basically talking about their restaurant, specifically they serve Mediterranean food. They have basically it's a la carte menu with individual portions, and they have the patent packaging, which can be considered one of their company's competitive advantage. So talking generally about the restaurant flow process mapping, here you can see more specifically which steps they have to take. But basically, client entering the restaurant and all the process he has to go until getting his food, eating, going to and paying the food in the end. Basically, it's all explained here. I won't lose a lot of our time here, but we just did the process mapping here. When we think about the relevance performance matrix, we're trying to think on what's important for the customer and what is and how we're performing on that subject. So here in the x-axis, we have the importance scale or relevance scale, and here the performance scales. It's notable here that there are we don't have any aspects in the urgent action area. So there's nothing like we really need to improve as soon as possible urgently. But although we have two aspects here which are in the improve area. Letter D here, that's service speed, is actually kind of in the border because we find some complaints about speed, but some others said, oh, the speed is good. So maybe if we improved a little bit, that could solve those issues. But when regarding to food quality, sometimes we could also improve a little bit. Most of our complaints come from that, and we're gonna show it in the next video. Here, if we think about the restaurant environment, we can see that we are in the excess area because we're better than our competitors in that, but maybe our customers are not valuing that a lot. They value more speed, service, and also food quality and price. They value more other aspects.
Okay, so regarding the service processes, we found out based on these tables that they worry more with the volume that they deliver rather than the variability. So that's why in the menu you don't find a lot of options. And that's why there's relatively high standardization, but they are very efficient because they have to deliver a lot of volume. That's why they try to focus on speed always, and they don't know much about their demand. They can predict, but it's very variable, so you cannot have certain about it. But they profit a lot because of their focus on speed and volume, and that's why the short life cycle also exists. And as I said, they're very standardized and they don't have much variability, so that's why they have low flexibility. But they have trustful suppliers, although they have some quality issues and also capacity restriction because their physical environment is not that big. So based on that, we did a Pareto chart analyzing both what people said in social medias and also what normal customers said on their interviews, and we found out that basically they complain most about the food quality, although it's not very common because these few people talked about. We analyzed 30 people and only 8 talk about quality and 4 about the bad service. So the restaurant does not have many complaints. They don't need a lot of improvements, but we suggested for it to become better. So based on that, we found out that, as I told, the quality of the food is not that good. Also, the service could be a little bit faster, and the waiters could be more friendly to the customers. Also, they could get fresher ingredients, and that's why we're gonna do the action plan based on that. So fresher ingredients, also expanding the restaurant to attend more people at once, Also, uh, providing a better treatment for employees with new technologies, and trying to reduce the time between the dish being ready and it being delivered. Because as it is a fast restaurant, usually they produce the food before, they cook it before the customer even arrives the restaurant. So this time should be reduced. But things to be maintained. We think that they already have some use of technology that is good, but they need to become up to date with the new technologies. Also, the focus on speed, it's good, but there are a few complaints about it, so it can get better. The welcoming environment is very good, also, they should maintain. The strategic location that is next to corporate offices, it's very good. The payment at the counter, so normally you pay at the table, but they have to go to a counter, so the table gets free faster. And also the delivery service, it's good because you don't have to go necessarily to the restaurant. They also deliver at your house.
So regarding waiting lines, here you can see that when more customers arrive, there's a higher probability that they will be serviced in the maximum time. And in here you can see that every 1 minute there's a 99% probability that 0 to 9 customers will arrive. Regarding a little bit about the means and the standard deviations, you can see that the mean time in line is around 13 minutes, time to receive food after ordering 15 minutes, and time sitting at the table is around 45. But the one that varies the most, according to the standard deviation, is the time in line, because you have peak times and then times when the restaurant's not so crowded. So it's the one that varies most. The restaurant functions lunches only, so from 11:45 a.m. to 3 p.m. They have 14 employees per unit. The average expenditure of each customer is of 40 reais. They serve from 300 to 350 meals per day. Their average profitability is of 7.5%, which is high for the sector, and their costs represent 80% of revenues. Some of the problems we diagnosed were low food quality and bad service provision. When analyzing low food quality through the fishbone diagram, we can see that material, they don't use very fresh ingredients, so it harms them. They have unmotivated employees. They're also affected by bad weather, so when it rains a lot, they have less quality ingredients. And also when there's an agricultural plague, so for instance, if potatoes are affected by the plague, they will have less quality. And they hurry a lot when preparing the food, so it makes them more sloppy. And they also prepare very earlier than it's served, so it harms its quality. They don't measure the ingredients, so they're not very standardized. And they have old machines and tools to prepare the food. Our proposal of improvement is that they invest 0.25% of the company's earnings, considering that they invest around 2% of their earnings in the operations. So the restaurant should focus on cooks, supervisors, and sanitary agents within 3 months to improve food quality, and this way customers will be more loyal because they know that the quality is very good. So they will use more fresh ingredients, and they can even switch suppliers to do that. The other issue we diagnosed was bad service provision. So they have trays that stall down the output, untrained employees, a stressful working environment because a lot of customers arrive at a very specific time, so it gets crowded very easily, it gets intense very easily. They lack sympathy with customers because they're almost in burnout situation. They have software misuse, a high ratio of clients per waiter, and the technology has a tricky interface, so it's very hard for them to misorder something. And then our suggestion is that 0.5% of the company's earnings is invested towards improving service provision, so they can better train their waiters and constantly motivate and recognize their work and their efforts. so many customers to also improve the loyalty of customers.